Well, this is a good start. Aaqib is connecting to audio.
Good morning, good morning.
Good morning. And should we say welcome to Horrid Wizard and Friends?
Yes, welcome.
Should I say our slogan? Because I've made show notes this time. When I say show notes, I mean I printed out some stuff that I'd written in my phone.
I have to apologize because I have somewhat been a little under the weather.
I was going to say I've got a bone to pick with you as a friend because I texted you at 1:30 in the morning and you didn't respond. And normally you are up doing your evening activities at that time.
That's right. It's just that I'm a victim to food poisoning.
Ah, okay. So your food has been poisoned. Is it because we're entering a Cold War era? Is that why?
Absolutely. You know what's so funny? This is why we're such great friends, because I was going to open the show with, now I know how Litvinenko and the Salisbury poison victims feel like. You see that? That lovely tedious link there.
Those were just a couple of gentlemen taking in the beautiful cathedrals of our country, okay?
Absolutely, yes.
Now, alarmingly, 55 people watched our first episode of this show, and this show, the slogan of which is the most underwhelming video podcast that your tiny little mind can imagine. So I'm worried for those people. I didn't actually ever think that anybody would watch. I'm also concerned that people might think that I'm making this video podcast to be watched, which we clearly are not.
A vanity project, yeah?
Well, I mean, I don't really think that you should make stuff for others. I think you should make it for yourself. So if anybody is watching, that's entirely up to them. And I'd just like to reinforce that we don't care whether they watch or not. Isn't that right?
Yeah, I really don't care. But it would be nice if we hit 1 million views at some point.
I don't even know if it would be nice, you know. I don't even know if that would be nice.
Think of all the YouTube fame.
So the other thing is, before we start, I need to thank my very faithful and dear brother Bilal for the new visuals that you will see at the start of this video, because he has taken the initiative. I mean, he basically was appalled with what he saw last week, and he was like, well, this is shit, isn't it? You can't have much more of this. So he has very kindly supplied me with some visuals that I will be including as a little intro to this show. So thank you very much.
I did suggest that maybe you do need to have something to open the show with, rather than that little
and I told you to go away, but
yeah, you told me to go away.
Yeah.
I'm just topping up on the old electrolytes, because they have all somehow been flushed down the drain.
Do we have any physicians amongst our audience who can actually verify whether, because this is something that happens when people go to hospital or whatever, they were often encouraged to drink Lucozade, and I'm just wondering whether this is an urban myth, or whether this is actually...
This is specifically an isotonic drink, because I've been vomiting. So, to replace all the salts that I have lost.
Did you ever used to mix powdered medicine called Diarrolite into a cup of warm water and then imbibe that as an elixir back in the day?
Elixir, yeah. No. I remember having glucose powder. Anything white and powdery is always good for you.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wouldn't want to ask you how you actually took in that powder, but I'm sure it was highly effective anyway. Did you sort of sprinkle some on your eyeballs? Is that what you tried initially?
Yeah,
that's
on the old gums there.
That's an area of transfer, isn't it? A fast transfer. How's your week? Apart from being poisoned, like a world leader that you are a great leader. And I'm sure that many people are out to get you. How has your week been? What you've been up to?
Yeah, just the usual, spending time with you almost every day.
Yeah. Getting some friends of ours into trouble.
yeah. That kind of stuff. Yeah.
If you do those things, then the police will take you away, I'm afraid.
Yeah, it really does. Actually, now that you put it that way, the whole week's events and leading up to my poisoning makes sense now.
Yeah, I think what's happened to you is a direct retaliation for what you did to some other people. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
And leave it at that.
We have an international reach. Let's just put it that way.
So important question of the week. important question is, would you like to have Boris Johnson's life? Now, I've thought about this, so I'll give you time to think while I give my own reflection on this. I've thought very long and hard because, like, oh, let's get a bit of privilege in there, maybe a bit of money or rich mates paying for stuff. And then I thought, well, the rest of it is pretty bad, actually. I don't think I would like. I think a lot of people are very annoyed with him. There's also a number of GDPR breaches that where people have dug up his old school reports in which he has been revealed to be a sociopath. So I wouldn't like to be him at all because I think he is widely derided. And so I've concluded, although, having mates that will buy you very expensive wallpaper, it's extremely tempting because, as you can see,
the funny thing is,
here.
I do also have that wallpaper in my living room and my front room made by that person. Company.
I don't want to ask anything more about your wallpaper. Yeah. So, have you decided? Funny. Do you want his life?
Well, the funny thing is, I a few years ago read his biography.
Have you ever managed to reclaim that time spent of your life?
And then I followed that up by reading his book on Winston Churchill, which I have somewhere here.
Disclaimer, you do also have many books by Jeremy Clarkson as well.
Yeah, many. They're right there as well. And I have one on Edward.
People will be forming an opinion.
The cover of Edward Snowden is literally looking very upset right now as I say that. But yeah, so I read those books by him and about him. And I thought, you know what? This guy this is before he came into power, by the way. And I thought to myself, right, this guy's all right. He's a bit of a fighter. He's a bit of a brash, yeah, go on, let's have it. Let's have where I up the Alamo, all that kind of stuff.
See, I think he's maybe like a plastic bag full of jizz. I think that's what he is, really.
And you smack it all over your face. That's what happens, isn't it?
Yeah, and all his behavior seems to have confirmed that is indeed what he is. Okay, fine, that's all right.
But he's not okay. So I've come to realize that he's not okay, and he has all the privilege, and the privileges have just smacked him in the face recently. So yeah, I wouldn't want to be him. I wouldn't want to be anybody in that cabinet right now, apart from the guy at number 11 who's doing a grand job.
Yeah, when you get your national insurance
pay rise,
rise in a couple of months' time, then we'll revisit your opinion on that guy. And
it's about 1%, 1.5%. It's all right.
You know what I want?
What can we do?
I want. You're talking about the guy at number 11, Rishi Sunak. I want an uplift in my income proportionate to the uplift in his shoes. And if anybody didn't know how tiny that man is, just Google Rishi Sunak and click on images, and you will see that he is literally it's like Danger Mouse is standing there with some politicians. I don't understand. And he tends to sort of like gravitate towards some of the smaller women and stand next to them so he can look a little bit.
I do feel for him because being a guy with large ears myself, he also has very large ears. So I kind of resonate with him.
Yeah, he does have the finances to pin them back if he so wishes, I guess. But no, look, I don't want to disparage anybody for their appearance, especially as, I look
the way
like
you're
this.
Looking. Yeah, I was going to say, you fat bastard.
Yeah, I have basically just woken up as well. So, I challenge anyone to look this good when they've just come straight from bed. I haven't had time to really do anything at all. Something sinister happened, actually. Barbara, I wanted to discuss with you.
Apart from my poisoning, yeah?
Apart from your poisoning, which is the most sinister thing. Something sinister happened, which is I received this email from BT. So hang on a minute.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, it's I'll just read it out. It says it's supposed to be a helpful email. Yeah, it's a customer service email. It says everything you need is now online. And it's got a picture of a lady with her child looking at some kind of phone or iPad. And that was the end of the message. And it was sent. Yes, it was sent. It was
I beg your pardon?
It's a customer service message. It's to try and...
What was the CTA on that?
The CTA was, don't you dare call us in our call center because we don't want to answer your phone. We don't want to have human interaction. Just flipping Google it and find it on some forum somewhere and guess what you're supposed to be doing. And if you have a disruption in service, we certainly don't want to talk to you. There might be some live chat and somebody sitting in some cabin somewhere in the world will interact with you.
I'm a big fan of the live chat feature on most sites, to be fair.
See, I'm not a big fan only because you get to about the 45-minute mark repeating yourself very carefully. And somebody goes off and says, yes, sir, I'm looking into this for you. I shall be back presently. And then they do come back and they say, what you need to do is you need to call this number. Goodbye. And then they give you an 03 number.
Yeah.
And then you go back into the loop. So that's it. If live chat could actually, they'd say things like, sorry, sir, we are unable to deal with this query because this is a billing issue. You have to call in.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we do not have access to these systems. And I'm like, well,
I've had that.
You know.
Gautier, the famous Australian singer, the one-hit wonder Gautier, wrote a song about this called "Thank You for Your Time."
Yeah, I would argue he's not a one-hit wonder because I like some of his other hits as well. In fact, State of the Art, I think he's even better. He's even better than Somebody I Used to Know. That's my humble opinion.
No, he has a few good songs there, but yeah, he actually wrote a song about a phone call being put on hold and all that kind of stuff, which I thought was pretty witty and creative.
Yeah, I think songwriting should be about things that are important to you. And this, like, if we were to write a song today, what would it be about? So far, it would be about a bag of jizz exploding over a call
Our
center.
own faces.
That's what it would be about so far. Talking
Political
about
jizz.
Yeah,
political jizz.
Yeah, talking about this kind of clusterfuck, as they call it. I was asked a very good question by my wife during the week. She wondered aloud, where do countries borrow money from? So I said, oh, that's a very simple, that's a very simple question.
Very dangerous question.
So I suffered from a problem. The problem I suffered from was that I had only a little bit of knowledge, but it was sufficient for me to think that, I might be able to answer the question. So I was like, I knew enough to be able to tell her that, look, a country's economy is not like a credit card or your personal finances. So for example, when, the way that governments structure their debt is very different to how a person borrows from a credit card or a loan or from another person and has to then pay it back. In many cases, money is borrowed over a huge period of time. It could be a generation. It could actually be almost an infinite amount of time. I think the last perpetual bond was...
You are now listening to Radio 5 Live Money Report.
Yeah. So the last perpetual bond was, I think, paid off in 2015. But anyway, so I had a small amount of knowledge in which I could tell her these things. And I said, this is the reason why it's bullshit when, the Tories tell you, for example, oh, you need to be under austerity because we have to pay off this huge deficit, because it's not actually how it works. And if you speak to an economist or you listen to an economist, and they will just tell you, yeah, that's all bullshit.
In some cases, they tend to just sell that debt off to somebody else and blah blah blah.
Yeah, it's just all they do is that when the sort of bonds mature, they will just reborrow and allow the old ones to be paid off and take on some more debt.
I do like that word bonds. It takes me back,
So that's how much knowledge I had. However, I didn't actually answer her question, which is, where do they borrow the money from?
Very good. This is excellent. You should become a politician.
Yeah, because she's a clever and discerning woman, she was like, yeah, that's all very well, but why are you bullshitting me now like a politician? Just tell me where the money comes from. Where do the governments borrow money from? So then I had to Google it, and I found this article on the British Broadcasting Corporation, which has an unfortunate acronym, as we know, that you should never Google at all.
Search.
No,
never Google that.
No,
because
never.
It won't be the first result. Let's just guarantee that. I'll guarantee.
Depending on the algorithm, you may find something that you are not expecting. But this article has come up. It's a recent article. In fact, it's from 2019, but it was updated on 25th of January, and it says, where does the government borrow billions from? And I thought, all I'm going to do is I'm going to read this article, and I shall then answer in full.
Regurgitate.
Yeah. And so I read the article and haven't got a fucking clue, mate.
Well, that's the point of the article, to keep it as, you know.
No, it's a really good article. It explains everything, but I don't flipping understand how it works. I still don't. I pride myself on my powers of comprehension, and yet the more I read the article, the more I thought, is this all a scam? This doesn't make any sense. This it's just.
Are you saying that central banks are the biggest scammers around? Is that what you're saying?
I don't know what I'm saying. That's the problem. I have absolutely zero reference point for any of this.
I have great confidence in the central banking system.
This is before it came to the section on quantitative easing, which is very alarming indeed, because effectively it's.
Can you for just the average Joe out there, just tell them what quantitative easing is?
Yeah. Quantitative easing. Bullshit. Yeah, quantitative easing is when black and brown countries print money. It's what white countries have to do. I think is that the best way of explaining it?
I think you hit the nail on the head there, my friend.
Okay, yeah. So that's what I understand anyway. I might be wrong, because I've been wrong about the majority of this article. Anyway, do you want our debt as of December 2021 is 2.34 trillion, and that almost exceeds the size of the UK economy, which I think is not bad, because if you think about it, Babar, me and you have both got mortgages, haven't we?
Yeah, not really happy about that though.
The size of our mortgages exceeds our
economy,
our economy, our earning potential, doesn't it? So I actually think we're doing all right. Apparently, Japan is doing the worst.
If you were a country, what country would you be? A question, nice little offshoot.
Ooh, that's a very good question. And you know what? It ties in with a question I have for you after this. Okay, I have a question for you after this, which is along those lines. But I will answer your question first. Wait, I have a way of resolving this.
Go on then. Yeah, let's just wait for him to return. I would like to be Ukraine, because I like to be taken from all sides. Okay, he never heard that.
Yeah, I didn't hear any for what you said there. I have a globe here.
Okay, cool. Let's play the game. Spin the globe.
Quite like the look of the Bay of Bengal. That's a good one. Madagascar looks quite nice. Well, apparently it's a basket case. Oh, maybe I am Madagascar. Hang on a minute.
While you were away, I said I would like to be Ukraine because I like to be taken from all sides.
You said. However, you're a lover, not a fighter. That's the one thing I know about you.
This is it, you see. So I'll welcome this. So let's talk. Let's negotiate. You know.
Yeah, I think there'll be a bit more than negotiation happening. Yeah. Do you like to be ambushed from your flank?
Yeah, every side, and like to be beaten till I'm black and blue.
Okay, I'll bear that in mind for our next correspondence.
Definitely.
You know what? I quite like the look of some of these Pacific islands. They're quite fun.
Yeah, so yeah. I would like to be around on that side of the equator, maybe.
We've got French Polynesia here, which, you know what? See, the one thing I do like about
French Polynesia sounds like some sort of hay fever.
yeah. It does.
Different brand of hay fever. Don't want that.
Yeah, when you sneeze directly into somebody else's sneeze. The Southern Cook Islands look pretty good. See, what I like about these Pacific Islands is that they're not near anybody else. And I think that, if we're talking about avoidance of civilization, that might be the best.
Yeah, so I was thinking more tax avoidance in the British Virgin Islands for myself, really.
Okay. I'm sure the Cook Islands could sort that out a bit.
Some sort of island. I think we've come to it. Some sort of island which really is far away from every other island.
It will definitely be an island. I quite like the look of the Galapagos here. Although I think, aren't those scary lizards still on it?
Yeah, but I watched a documentary this week about the Galapagos Island, and it's not just the lizards that live there. There are some people that live there as well.
I'll tell you where. So, my beautiful cousin Bilal, who made the intro to this video, he has been to Iceland. and that is a stunning place. And there's not many people there either. So
yeah,
that's
I do have a soft
option.
spot for Iceland. So it looks like you and I both will be there. I'll be whale watching because that's a dream of mine, and that's one of the best places to do that.
You see,
Plus,
one of the biggest concerns I have when I go abroad is availability of British cereals, because because the issue is, unfortunately,
priorities, yeah.
no, seriously, when countries are only able to import American chocolate and American cereals, you really do sort of understand why we have benefited in our lifetimes from European Union standards. That may well diverge now after Brexit, but we're still hanging on for the time being, because they taste of absolute shite. I mean, they are. It's like a mixture of cardboard, dust, mold. Anybody who's tried to eat a Hershey's bar,
Shit in it, basically. It's a bar of shit, isn't it?
It really. I don't know how they accept this kind of standard of things.
Just had a real sinister image of their factory.
yeah. That's very sinister. So now onto your question that I had for you, which is, and it's linked to a quote. So last week, if you remember, in episode 1, I quoted from the Norwegian ambassador to the UN when she said about the extensive bombing in Yemen. She said, we are very much concerned on what's going on. So that was a quote. Now, this week's quote is slightly different. This week's quote is from a YouTube video I watched in which the singer Ed Sheeran was talking about his watch collection. Yes. Yeah,
okay, excellent.
So he has a number of luxury watches, some of which he was on sort of rich people's waiting lists. You know how they do stuff. And he has a contact at Tiffany and Co. That he rings up and asks for certain watches to be given.
Remind me of Tiffany and Co. Once you finish. I have a story about that and a Russian in Dubai.
All right. And at one point in the video, the interviewer said, there's rumors of Rolex doing a titanium watch, to which Ed Sheeran replied, I mean, I don't know why more people don't. I think it's a great metal. And I wrote that down, obviously, because I write down stupid things in my daily life, which is why I have this sheet in my hand. So on that, I want to know, what are your top 3 metals? Now, I've got a list here of the top 10 most expensive.
I thought you wanted to know what are my top 3 watches, but let's go.
No, I'm not interested in watches, although I do have a Casio.
So I actually think you are a bit of a watch specialist.
I have another Casio here. So I have
this is what I mean.
This G-Shock, I have this G-Shock. The G-Shocks are very cheap. I have this Citizen Perpetual Calendar. I have this Casio Edifice.
Yeah, this is what I mean. But
and I also have this Seiko Solar.
There you go. You see.
But I'm not a watch person. I just like watches.
I have a Rolex, a Patek Philippe, and an Apple Watch. That's it. That's all I have.
Do you actually have these?
Yeah, my brother gave me a Rolex as a gift, and a Patek Philippe I've had for years.
You only ever wear the Apple Watch, don't you?
Yeah, because it's the only one that tells the time accurately, because all the others work on this perpetual movement. And, if I stay still.
Yeah, I guess so. Downstairs, I do have a number of other watches. I think I have about 14 watches in my humble collection.
Really? Humble?
Yeah, I have a Swatch.
Hello, Ed Sheeran.
Yeah, I'm just taking the piss out of somebody who I'm roughly... No, he was talking about extremely expensive watches. I mean, none of these watches are expensive that I've shown you over here. They are very easily acquired. But yeah, so anyway, top 3 metals. So I just looked here at the top 10. I've got an article on my iPad. Can you see this?
You could have just shown him the top half.
This is actually a Viglen, which is an old brand that used to sort of supply computers.
CDs and
supply hardware to like shops and stuff. I don't know how I don't know how I got this laptop. But anyway, I've loaded this page. It's got the top 10 most expensive metals in the world, and the majority of them are actually mined in South Africa, which is interesting because everybody tries to tell you that South Africa is a poor country, but maybe the mining rights are owned by various parties, and Absolutely. It's not. Maybe the wealth isn't quite filtering down to its people. Let's just
various parties and various car manufacturers.
Yeah. So top three metals for you then. And think carefully, because if you want, you can. Are you getting up a periodic table so you can have a look at all the metals?
I can. I'm doing some research, but
Yeah.
it's very specific.
Yeah, it is very specific, isn't it? And just a reminder, it's based upon Ed Sheeran saying, I mean, I don't know why more people don't. I think it's a great metal.
You know what's so funny about titanium? My father, who is now
Yes.
retired, used to work in one of the biggest factories that is I wouldn't say manufacturer of, but user of titanium metal for a lot of military and commercial use. So he used to work for a place called IMI, which is part of ICI, and they used to use, and he used to come home and he says, titanium, it's titanium.
He just used to come home and say titanium. I think you're doing him a disservice here, because he's a very good and articulate man from my encounters with him.
Okay, so this is also relates to him. So my top three metals are the ones that were found in the catalytic converter that got nicked from his car.
Is that when the Albanian gang was caught by your cousin, and he said, please, can you stop stealing my uncle's catalytic converter? And they told him to fuck off.
And they said,
and they continued doing it in front of him.
They basically went like this, and they went, and they said, what the fuck are you going to do?
In fairness, I mean, they had Formula One pit lane efficiency, because they were. You checked your CCTV camera, and they were.
I'm very impressed. Very
under
impressed,
3 minutes, isn't it? They managed to cut
less
through.
than that. It was about a minute and a half, so they managed to do everything. Anyway, going back to the metals: platinum, palladium, and rhodium. Those are the ones I like.
Okay, so
you know why I like them? Because it cost me over £1,100 to replace them.
Yeah, rhodium is the most expensive metal in the world. It is $2,930 roughly per ounce. Obviously, South Africa is mine there. Palladium, again, number 3.
Oh, okay.
So both of these are more expensive than gold. 1,400 per ounce, roughly. Russia, Canada, United. Oh, South Africa. Yeah. Okay. Largest producers. What was the other one? Platinum.
Yeah, platinum.
Platinum, oddly, has just dropped under the cost of gold. It used to be more expensive than gold. That is also produced in South Africa. Canada and Russia are getting a bit of a mention in these precious metal mining areas. So I guess the indigenous peoples of Canada will be benefiting greatly from this mining potential and from this vast wealth.
Many casinos are being built out in the in the wild.
Yeah, sometimes people because Canadians are generally very polite and they've got a extremely dashing and handsome leader. People forget what a bastard country Canada is. I mean, it's pretty much just exactly the same as the United States, isn't it?
There's a reason why a country like that has so many French, like colony type sort of places there.
Yes. Anyway, Barbara, shall we go away now? Shall we come back next Sunday?
Yeah, let's do that, because I have ordered a Starbucks. We should be arriving any minute now. But other coffees are available.
Have you ordered a very sort of squirty dump as well, given that you are food poisoned?
Yeah. So no, I'm actually I'm all right on that regard.
Good to hear.
Have a lovely weekend.
No.